Hey boys and girls, it's Miss Alyssa again. I know it's been a little while since we talked, but if you remember our last videos about Miss Alyssa's chickens and about my eggs and how they get so colorful, now we're going to go ahead and talk about the different parts of eggs. If you've ever, maybe with your mom or dad, had an egg in the morning for breakfast and you cracked it into the pan, or if you've ever helped your mom or dad bake, you might have seen the inside of an egg and saw that there's different parts and different colors to the inside of an egg too. So today we're going to go ahead and look at actual eggs and look at their different parts. And also I've attached a worksheet for you guys to your mom and your dad's email that shows you the different parts of an egg that you can color, or you can label yourself, or you can just look at it as we go through the video to help you learn the names of the different parts of an egg, okay? So let's go ahead and go look at the different parts of an egg. Let's go. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at our eggs now. First, I've sent your parents, if you choose to look at it or to print it, you can, this picture of the parts of an egg. As you can see, I went ahead and colored the inside part that's yellow. You don't have to do that if you don't want to, or you can. And these are the different parts that we'll see. We're gonna go ahead and crack an egg. I have my eggs here, my paper to follow, and a bowl. If you would like to do it with me, you can. If not, you can just watch as we go along and do it together. Okay? If we look at our paper right here, most of us probably know that this yellow part is called a what? If you said yolk, you're right. This is the yolk. But do we know what everything else other than the outside, which we know is called the shell? That's right. The hard part on the outside that holds it all together is the shell. And that can be what color? We found out white, brown, blue, green, tan, yeah, all of those colors. So that would be the shell. But what we're going to do is open up an egg and find out all of these parts of the egg that are on our paper, okay? Okay, first let's take one of our eggs. I have 2 eggs here so we can look at different parts, okay? Doesn't matter what color, everything on the inside is always the same. It tastes the same, it looks the same, and it has the same parts. Okay, we're going to start with this egg. First, again, we know the outside hard part is called the shell. The shell is made of calcium just like our teeth and bones are. So we're going to have to crack this to get in. It's somewhat hard to be able to protect the inside of the egg. And we know the inside of the egg can either be an egg or a baby chick. Anything that we eat or we get at the store is just going to be an egg. So let's find out what's inside. We're going to crack it into our bowl. And the first thing we can see, we know that brown, again, we learned in our last lesson, they dye the outside as brown and the inside is white because brown eggs start as white eggs. And then one thing you might notice, and maybe not, when you've opened an egg is there's this inside layer. Now this layer is not on our paper, but we can add it. This layer is what holds all of the insides together inside the shell. If it didn't have this layer, they would get all mixed up and there wouldn't be a nice yolk, a nice yellow part and a white part. It would all get scrambled together. You'd have scrambled eggs. So this right here is called a membrane. If you peel it out real easy, it is whitish but kind of see-through, and it's kind of rubbery, soft, flexible. Now, if this stays open and it's not inside protected anymore, it will dry out and just turn into crunchy like paper, and it would just crumble in your hands. But right now, because it's still wet and it was inside the egg, it's very flexible and rubbery. So this is the membrane, okay? If we looked at our paper, even though it's not labeled, the membrane would be right inside. We see this outside line, this dark line is the shell, and the next line over right here, that's the membrane, okay? All right, let's turn our camera around and take a look at our egg. All right, we can see our egg in our bowl, and we can see the different parts, okay? Now, right here. And this one's not very good. Maybe we'll have to open another one. It's very small, but we see this white squiggly line, okay? That is called a chalaza. If you look on our paper, this squiggly line right here is the chalaza. And the chalaza is a rope-like strand. So it's kind of like a string or a little rope that holds this yellow yolk into place. So again, it doesn't float around, because if it floated around and bumped off the sides, it might break and become scrambled eggs. So the chalaza, how do we say it? Chalaza. The chalaza is this white little strand of string or rope, and that holds it into place so that the yellow yolk floats in the middle of the white, and we're going to talk about those parts next. Okay, so what did we say this yellow part is? The yellow part is the yolk, okay? The yolk right here in our picture is the inner part of the egg where a baby could grow if we wanted to turn our eggs into little baby chicks, but we don't. So we're keeping them eggs, like that we eat. So this is the yolk, this is the chalaza. Next we have what the yolk floats in, okay? If we see over here, we can see what it floats in. And actually there's 2 layers to it, okay? On our picture, this area right here around the yolk is called the albumen. Albumen. Albumen has both a thick and a thin layer. So if we look at our egg right here, this outer part is like water. You see how thin that is? I'll use my finger. This part right here is like liquid. It's water. You can barely feel it. And then this part of the white or the albumen is a little bit thicker, so you can move it. It's more like, have you ever made slime or bought slime at the store? It's kind of like that. You can move it. It doesn't, unless you break it, you can stretch it. It's kind of flexible. It's thicker like slime. And the outer part is more like water, okay? That's the albumen. So let's review real quick. The string part is called the chalaza. The yellow part is called the yolk. And the white clear part is called the albumen, okay? So chalaza, yolk, albumen. And if you happen to have an egg with you, again, we can find it here on our egg. Here is the chalaza string. The yellow is the yolk. And both of these parts are the albumen, but again, you can see there's a thin part and a thick part. Okay? Let's see what else on our picture we have. There is this little circle right in the middle of the yolk. Now we might have to crack open another one or try to very carefully move the one in our bowl, because I think it's on the other side of our yolk right now. But this little circle right here is called a germinal disc. I know it sounds funny, like a germ, but it's germinal disc, this right here, this little circle. And this says it's a small white spot on the yolk, and that's going to tell you when it's going to turn to a baby or not. So let's see if we can look at our yolk. I'm going to try to turn this very carefully without breaking it. Oh, didn't do it. Doesn't want to turn over. Nope. Let's see. Oh, I think we found it. We got to focus. Hold on. Who sees it? Let's see if we can get it to focus. Nope, that wasn't it. That was a bubble. Okay, I think we're going to go ahead and crack another one and try to find it. Okay, so I cracked another one, but I did find it on the first yolk, so we can look at it on both. It's kind of hard to see in the camera, but if you look right here, do you see it? Who sees the little white circle? Right here. And on this one, you can kind of see it now right here. Do you see it? That is called the germinal disc. So that is the white spot right here we were looking for on our paper. So let's go through it again. We have the yolk, the chalaza, the albumin, and the germinal disc. And then we know the outside is called the shell, and that thin part we pulled out is called a membrane, okay? And then if you see on your picture, and you won't see it in a cracked egg, you would only see it if, have you ever boiled eggs for Easter, cracked them open, and at the bottom or on the side there might be a little space or a little dent in the white part of the egg? That's because that is the air cell. And that's when an egg is fresh, like right after it's laid. If you boiled those eggs, you would see there's barely any air cell. But the ones we usually buy at the store are a little bit older because they had to travel all the way to the store, so their air cell gets bigger and bigger. So if you ever wanted to know how old an egg was, if you boiled it, cracked it open, if the air cell is really big, like if the egg is flat at the bottom or has a big open part, that's because it's older, and the air cell, as it gets older, gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Okay, so let's look one more time at our eggs. What do we have? Again, the white part, it can be the outside thin part or this inside that's kind of thick and you can swirl around like slime. That's called what? The albumin. And then the yellow part is called the yolk. Very good. This little white circle you can find in the middle is called the germinal disc. And then we have to flip one of these around again. Let's see if we can get it to flip around. Ooh. Slimy, there it is. Miss Alyssa's getting slimy. Here, this string part right here, this holds the yolk in place so it can just float inside the egg right in the middle so it's safe. That's called the chalaza. Very good. So we have the albumin, the yolk, which is the yellow, the germinal disc, which is the white circle right in the middle, and then this string is called the chalaza that holds the yolk into place. And then the shell, of course, is the outside, and we said that is made of calcium, just like our bones. And then what did we say, which is not on our paper, is this part inside the shell that holds everything inside? That's called the membrane. That's right, the membrane. Okay, while we have these open, since we had to open two, we can learn one more thing about our eggs. And if you see right here, this yolk looks really dark yellow, like almost orange, compared to this one, which is a lot lighter, like a dark yellow. That's because of what they're eating. That means this one right here is not even eating enough of its vegetables. And this one is eating a lot more of its vegetables. When you get store eggs, usually when you open them, they are this color, or a lot of times they're even lighter yellow, like almost like this, but not as bright. Because on a farm, they only get to eat what the farmers feed them. But when they grow up, like around here in my house, they can go around the yard and eat all kinds of grass and plants and berries and bugs. Yes, bugs. Chickens love bugs. And that makes them even healthier because that's the kind of stuff they would eat if they were just left out on their own. So when they can eat all that healthy, good stuff out in the yard, like the grass and the plants and the bugs, the darker their yolks get. And when they're this color, that means, ooh, those chickens are very, very healthy and they're eating really good. This is not bad. It doesn't mean they're not healthy. It just means they're not eating as much as they probably should. And then a store egg, if you open that up, a lot of times it's even lighter because they're not getting a lot of grass or bugs in their farm. Okay? So, one more time, let's see. Let's look at our paper here. Yellow part, yolk. White circle, right here, germinal disc. String part over here, chalaza, the white part, albumin, and remember the inside is really thick, ooh, like slime, and the outside is really watery. And then there's this part that's open. What was that called? An air cell, like an air pocket, and that'll get bigger and bigger and bigger as the egg gets older. And then the outside part is called the shell, and we know those can be white, brown, dark brown, blue, or green. And the insides are always either blue or white. And then we have the membrane part on the inside of the shell that holds everything like in a little sack, in a little protective little sack. Okay, so now if you guys want to have these papers, you can color them. You can go over the parts with your mom or your dad or your grandma or whoever. And if you want to crack open some eggs and find all the parts yourself, you can, but you need to ask your mom or your dad. And next time, maybe we'll talk about the different kinds of chickens that we have. Okay? I'll see you guys later. Bye.